Hello everyone and welcome to the table. So as you can see, we have the Schrade Tradesman right here. So we're going to go ahead and check this out. And so as you can tell, this is a utility knife, but it's coming from Schrade, and Schrade is generally known, as a pocket knife company. So I want to see if their take on an inexpensive utility knife is any better than what you might get from your Walmart, just your generic everyday, box cutter that you would pick up at any retail store. And so I kind of want to see that because we do have some interesting things here. So again, removable utility blade, obviously. It's made of stainless steel. We do have ultra glide, so for her pleasure. And what that basically means, I'm betting this runs on bearings. You can see the little bearings on the icon there. And so yeah, I kind of want to see what a knife company is coming up with in 2025. So let's go ahead and open this up and check out the Schrade Tradesman. Let's go ahead and check it out. But this looks like is going to be a little frame lock construction. So it is definitely a locking knife. So all actually very small in hand, a lot smaller than it looked in the package. Let's go ahead and open this up. There we go. Grip on it. I can get a decent grip, and some jimping is right here. So that's immediately noticeable out of the package. And also noticeable is that we do have a pocket clip right here. So blacked out pocket clip. It's actually probably hard for you to even see on camera because it's so dark. There we go. So Schrade logo right there. And it does not look reversible. So we have a right-hand side tip up pocket clip. So it definitely kind of does give you that pocket knife style vibe to it. So kind of interesting there. But yeah, frame lock design. Check out the lockup. You can see feels very secure. It's almost all the way on the lock bar is almost all the way on the frame. And let's see if it feels solid. Oh yeah, absolutely. There's no play in this blade holder at all. So that's interesting. And has the Tradesman logo right there. And you're also going to notice, of course, there's a blade already pre-installed. It looks like we have a little cord cutter right here. So that's kind of interesting. If you don't want to use your main blade, you have a little section where you can cut cord, or maybe even use it like as a seatbelt cutter in an emergency, something of that nature. So that's kind of cool. We get a little bit of use of the normally unexposed blade on your, average utility knife. So that's kind of a cool little thoughtful thing. We have thumb stud openers right there. So dual thumb studs. Let's go ahead and try and flick it open. Yep, flicks open just fine. And this is right out of the package. So it's already smoothing out pretty nicely. But again, what's noticeable in hand, now that's all metal frame, all steel frame, and it is pretty slippery. So if your hands are sweaty, having it open to flick like that might be an issue. So if you're using like, thick gloves or something like that, just keep in mind this is kind of a smaller knife, a smaller tool. So let's just put it side by side with this. This is a Hyper Tough Walmart branded one, so you can kind of see a little bit shorter, a hair shorter than what we get with this Walmart branded one. So just something to keep in mind. Depends on how beefy of a tool you want in hand. But if you prefer all steel construction versus plastic, because like this right here, the pocket clip on this one, it's just a cheapy plastic, obviously. And this plastic frame is not going to be as durable necessarily as something made out of stainless steel. And of course, being all blacked out, it's very, tactical friendly looking. But let's go ahead and see how we change out the blade. There we go. From what I'm thinking, it looks like there's a little screw right there on both sides. Does this just pull up maybe? Let's just try that. That was easy. So you can see this action right here. It pushes up. And so there's a spring in there, obviously, that keeps that blade locked in. That's actually really smart. That's really, really interesting. So blade swings back in, and it locks up nice and tight. So you would want to be careful while you're cutting thick items. Like if you have anything that's pushing upward, it could make your blade come loose as you're cutting through material. So it might be something that you want to, keep in mind. So just keep that in mind as you are cutting things. But actually, that's fairly easy to change the blade out because a lot of utility knives make it kind of a process to change out the blade. So that's pretty user-friendly, to be perfectly honest with you. So let's go ahead and check out the weight of this tool. So the Schrade Tradesman is coming in. Let's go ahead and Put it on the scale. So yeah, about 3.7 ounces. So it's not super heavy or anything. And like I said, it's also pretty small. So let's go ahead and measure the length of this knife. So from tip to end of the handle, it's only a hair over 6 inches in length total. And of course, you can see our blade holder right there is coming in around 2.5 with about 1.25 inches of cutting edge exposed. So pretty cool. And this is about what I expected, to be honest with you. You know, it's made by a knife company, so it has some of those nice little things like the pocket clip. It's a frame lock, you know, pretty easy to actuate. And I bet it's going to break in pretty nicely. So you can see straight out of the package, yeah, you really want to make sure that you open it securely. And again, there's just not a lot of meat to hold on to on the handle. So like trying to flick it, like you can see like how much I want to grip it more, you know? So I don't think that's going to bother most people. It's going to be a functional utility tool. I do like to check whenever I get a folding utility blade. I like to see if it accepts these hooked blades, because these can be super useful for, you know, utility purposes, is having these little hooked blades. And I like to see if they're compatible, because sometimes with the way the pattern works, it doesn't fit in the handle that way. So let's go ahead and put that in there. Yeah, see how it, because of that, yeah, the way the blades don't line up. So we have the line up there, and you can see how one is much shorter than the other, you know? So a lot of these folding utility knives simply won't work with these hook-shaped blades. In fact, most don't. So you put that in there, and yeah, by the time it locks up, yeah, it's not gonna be secure at all. And it probably won't even close. So it'll close at least, but that's not ideal. So no go on the concave hooked blades. So just keep that in mind. Always like to test that out. But beyond that though, this is exactly what I expected. So if you just need a working utility knife that's really easy with the blade change mechanism right here, I think the Schrade Tradesman is a pretty good bet. And again, I do like this cutting area right here, so you get a little bit of extra blade for cutting rope, paracord, strap cutting purposes, and it keeps your main edge a little bit less damaged from things like that. So that's always kind of thoughtful. So pretty cool. Not the best knife in the world, nope, but I think it'll work for what it is. 10, 15 bucks. Go pick up the Schrade Tradesman if this is of interest to you. If you have any questions, please drop a comment below. But I hope y'all have a nice day. See you later.